Puppet Master, not to be confused with The Puppet Masters, is a 1989 horror film from director David Schmoller. The movie begins in the usual full moon features format, with an obscenely long credit intro sequence. After the intro, we cut to a matte painting hotel, where I'm sure that nothing bad ever happens. It's 1939 inside the workshop of André Toulon, the Puppet Master. He's been terrifying both kids and adults with his creepy puppets for years. Meanwhile, outside, one of the puppets is trying to get in. None of these people notice a living puppet's running around? Was this the inspiration for Toy Story? Two Germans are headed to Toulon's room. He knows they're coming, so he puts the puppets in a case and hides them in a wall. I love you, my little puppet friends. Why won't you get in the case? We are here with your complimentary continental breakfast, and totally are not Nazis. Toulon kills himself, which makes the Germans move in slow motion. We cut to Yale University, 2015. It says present day. In the Office of Ancient Artifacts is the oldest one of them all, this feathered hairdo. Alex is having a nightmare about his girlfriend, daughter, somebody being murdered. Oh no, he mixed Pop Rocks and soda. Oh, my bad. It's just the old covered in leeches nightmare again. It must be Tuesday. A couple are talking to a fortune teller at a carnival, and Barbara Crampton? This movie wins. The fortune teller informs the couple the guy will get a job in retail.
Retail sales? No, ma'am. I'm sorry. You better look again because buddy here, he flunked out of the 10th grade. I don't see how it can be in retail sales.
They act like retail is some big deal. What she's really saying is, I'm sorry, ma'am. This dumbass is too stupid to sell clothes at the mall. The fortune teller has a fit of overacting that leads into stock footage central. At Penis Research Incorporated, one scientist and one hipster are doing some sleep study research. Or something.
I want you to recreate in your mind your wildest sexual fantasy.
Be as explicit as possible. Please moan and rub yourself accordingly.
Are you getting anything about a man on a horse in the rain?
What's she thinking about, a Duran Duran video?
This little girl has a very vivid imagination.
Frank gets a call from Alex. Apparently they've all been contacted psychically by some guy named Neil and told to go to the Bodega Bay Inn. They're greeted by Megan Gallagher, who owns the inn with her husband Neil. Her introduction is not warmly received.
Hello, I'm Megan Gallagher.
The rest of the guests introduce themselves.
I'm Frank Forrester.
Please excuse my creepy old guy ponytail. They discover the reason why Neil summoned them there is because he's dead.
You're kidding? Oh my God.
He shot himself. So now that you're here, we'll bury him tomorrow.
He shot himself for some reason. Well, we're gonna bury him tomorrow. I'll show you to your rooms. Is it me or does Alex look like Mitchell? Dana wants to make sure he's dead, so she stabs him with a giant pin. Couldn't she have just poked him? She had to impale him? Well, if he wasn't dead before, he is now. If you like movies with scenes of elevators going up and down, you're gonna love this. Alex explains to Megan that he and Neil used to work together at Yale. Oh man, this airplane food ain't sitting well. Alex is massaging a postcard and has visions of Eyes Wide Shut. Teresa shows the rest of the guests to their rooms. Carissa has a vision of Neil sexually assaulting a woman in the elevator and possibly transforming into the Hulk. The two head to their room where Carissa has a discovery.
Two famous movie stars had a wild night in this bed.
We have to use your gifts to find out what Gallagher was doing here.
So please, allow me to massage your gifts vigorously.
They did it right in this bed.
Who?
Randy Quaid and B. Arthur. The camera pans slowly towards Neil's body, and wasn't this movie supposed to be about killer puppets? Ah, here we go. Finally, we're gonna see some... never mind. The group's meeting for dinner. Megan explains the hotel was owned by her parents, who left it to her after they died. For a hotel this big, you'd think they'd have more than 5 guests. Megan tells the group how after she got married to Neil, he started renovating the hotel. Unbeknownst to her, he was looking for Toulon's puppet case. They've been in the wall for 50 years. Hopefully the rats didn't eat them. Dana tells Megan what she thinks of Neil.
Your husband was a despicable, greedy bastard. He screwed us, and we mean to even the score.
He's dead. What exactly are you going to do to him now? Bury him with his underwear on his head? Alex goes outside to apologize to Megan. Is there anything my perfectly sculpted hair can do to help? Alex explains each of the group has special abilities. Alex's dreams see into the future. Dana can read fortunes. Frank has general psychic abilities. And Carissa can put food in her mouth suggestively and not eat it. Teresa's tending to the fireplace in the hotel when something startles her. Alright, who put the cat on the piano? The puppet, appropriately named Pinhead, bashes her head with the fire poker. The group hears Megan scream. Alex, what the fuck are you doing? She screamed because of this.
She fainted. Look.
Since Teresa's missing, they think that she's the one that moved the body. Carissa discovers the past sexual history of this bathtub. Frank's preparing for tonight with a box of bees.
Preparing for tonight's experiment.
Incoming jump scare in 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
The hell is this couple into? Alex is fluffing his luxurious hair helmet and sees Dana casting a spell in her room.
He means to kill us all.
Who does?
Gallagher.
Gallagher? Frank and Carissa have sex as a way to contact the dead? That ranks pretty high on the list of things that I don't want to come into contact with during sex. While they didn't contact the dead, but they did attract some peeping Tom puppets, Carissa thinks someone's in the room, but instead of untying Frank, she looks under the bed and gets drilled in the head. Carissa, now is not the time to be using your vibrator. A female puppet starts messing around with Frank, and he thinks it's Carissa. So this guy can't tell the difference between flesh and wood? The puppet, Leech Woman, begins vomiting leeches on him. Leech Woman keeps going, and she would have stopped, but Frank never used the safe word. Dana makes a pass at Alex.
I was hoping we could do a little rearranging of the walls ourselves.
I don't think that'd be a good idea, Dana.
Yeah, you're carrying around a dead dog.
Well, I guess we'll just have to entertain each other like we always do, Leroy.
I get the feeling this used to involve peanut butter and shame. Dana finds Neil in her room. He just blinked. After casting some sort of spell on Neil, Pinhead tries to strangle her. She throws him down a stairwell, but Blade corners her and cuts her throat. Megan wakes up Alex and takes him to see the room from his dream. Okay, is Neil alive, or is this another dream? Let's see. 30 minutes left in the film. Yep, it's a dream. Ah, and the ever-popular Dreamception.
What's happening, Alex?
Now Megan comes to get him for real, to show him what he just dreamt about. Only now she takes him to a dusty old room with Toulon's diary. Why did she bring him up there, instead of just bringing the diary to him?
I love them like all my other children, like my other puppets. They mirror the soul of their master, and with me they are harmless, but I fear what they are capable of if placed in the wrong hands.
He fears what they're capable of. If he wanted them to remain harmless, then why did he create them with weapons? Also, why did he leave his journals in there documenting how to bring life to the undead? Alex has a vision and takes Megan to the dining room, where everyone's dead. Well, except for Dana. Neil's alive! I didn't see that coming. Neil explains he killed himself and used Toulon's secrets so he could live forever. Neil slaps Megan around, so the puppets turn on him. A brilliant archaeologist figured out how to come back from the dead, but can't figure out how to open a door? The puppets tear him apart to show he's filled with mellow yellow. We now enter the hentai portion of the film. Pinhead snaps his neck, and now he's dead. Wait a minute, didn't he say this?
It would take the total destruction of this body, something that you are not capable of.
That makes it sound like he'd have to be incinerated. Okay, he's dead, I guess. The next day, wow, this is a dirty print. Alex is saying goodbye to Megan. Sorry about leaving you with a bunch of corpses, but if you're ever out east and you need a refresher of the worst weekend of your life, give me a call. Megan goes upstairs, and now for some reason, Leroy the dog is alive. The movie was shot mostly in Pasadena, California, for about $400,000. In 1987, while running Empire Pictures, producer Charles Band released the Stuart Gordon-directed Dolls. After Empire folded, he took the killer doll idea, and it evolved into Puppet Master. The movie was originally intended to be released theatrically, but after the VHS home video boom of the late 80s, Band decided it would be smarter to release it direct-to-video. The move paid off, and the film ended up being a huge success for the studio and laid the foundation of the franchise. As of currently, there are 9 sequels, 2 comic book miniseries, and various toys and collectibles. After the success of Puppet Master, Full Moon started making movies with the intention of building franchises under their brand. So classics like the Subspecies series was born. Even though Trancers 1 was from Empire, Band continued the series under the Full Moon label all the way up to Trancers 6 in 2002. Stop-motion master David Allen did the puppet work. Allen's worked on big productions like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, as well as many smaller productions from Full Moon, like Subspecies. He was even nominated for an Oscar for his work on young Sherlock Holmes. Sometimes the puppets were controlled with wires, and other times with stop motion. Pinhead's introduction was stop motion, and even though it's only 13 seconds long, it took 2 days to produce. Stunt woman Cindy Sorensen wore the Pinhead gloves, and was only seen as the hands of the puppet. For the rod puppetry, it took 5 people for each puppet. Director David Schmoller had worked with Band in the past, in Catacombs, Crawl Space, and Tourist Trap. Despite directing the original, Schmoller never worked on any of the sequels. Of the 10 Puppet Master films, 2's my favorite. It incorporates more of the puppets into it, and has my favorite puppet, Torch. Puppet Master's a cool movie that's really more about Neil coming back from the dead than about the puppets. I think if you count their total screen time, it's less than 5 minutes. Even though they had limited screen time, the time they were on looked good. I've always had a soft spot for stop-motion animation, as it adds a certain uneasiness to what you're seeing. While some of the Puppet Master movies are better than others, they're all entertaining in their own way, unless you have a crippling fear of puppets.
I'm not a cynic, Frank. I prefer to think of myself as a nasty bitch.
That's enough, Dana.
Fuck you, you Ivy League tight ass.